Hello, everybody. Welcome to this peculiar Halloweeny edition of Candela Obscura on RolePlay GrabBag. We have some new faces in the mix. Do you guys want to introduce yourself, Rachel and Chris?
Sure, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Chris.
And we are two of the people from the Faint Divinities. I'm the creator and main GM. The Faint Divinities is a channel here on YouTube. We also go live on Twitch, playing Daggerheart almost exclusively, which is the new tabletop RPG from Critical Role and Darrington Press. So come watch us sometime.
Nice. Yes, and we actually met Rachel and Chris. Sean and I did, and Rachel, we were running games for Darrington Press at Gen Con. So we met and we're like, hey, you guys live close. Let's do this. And you guys do online stuff. This is our first RolePlay GrabBag online thing. So apologies beforehand if there's any glitches, but I think we got it nailed down. And then also want to introduce from our group, we have Sean and Mo. Do you guys want to say a little something about yourselves?
Happy to be here. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else than with you fine folks this evening. I'm excited for everyone to get really, really, hopefully frightened over the next few minutes, hours, days, weeks, however long we want to go for.
Mo.
Hey, my name is Mo, and
he froze. Internet, everybody.
I like long walks on the beach, and am looking for love in all the wrong places.
Right on. You froze once or twice, Mo, so hopefully that doesn't happen during a dramatic scene.
It's fine.
He's got a fantastic ventriloquism act, honestly. Like.
But also want to say here before we get into the game, we are running Candela Obscura for Darrington Press. This is a game, like Sean said, it's a horror game. There's a lot of crazy themes and dark themes. Just a heads up, if anybody has, if we're going into territory that you don't like or you feel uncomfortable with, please feel free to stop the stream, come back to it later, or don't come back to it at all. We'd rather you be comfortable and happy than listen to our mess and have nightmares. So I can kind of give some overall themes just to get everyone, so there's definitely going to be horror aspects, some dark stuff, some grotesque stuff, some descriptions that might be a little unsettling. Mo is actually playing a child, so there will be some danger elements with children involved, life or death decisions. So just come into it knowing that, we could go right up to the border, we could cross your border. So just make sure that you are doing what you need to do to stay sane, and don't blame us for anything if you keep listening and it's not good. Just take 5, go grab a coffee or whatever, come back to it or don't. But I think the main thing is just to make sure that you're good. Anybody else? Anything else we got to do before we jump into this story, which I'm anxious to do?
Good to go.
All right, everybody. So once again, this is RolePlay GrabBag and the Faint Divinities playing Candela Obscura. And here we go.
RPGB RolePlay GrabBag. Raise up your battle flag. You can handle any game you bring. We'll play anything, so roll the dice. Select your path. RPGB RolePlay GrabBag. RPGB RolePlay GrabBag.
We open, as we do, in the night sky floating over the Fairlands. The lights of Newfaire draw our attention like a beacon. See what I did there? Like a beacon, and we move down towards the city. Suddenly there's the sound of life, of music, of celebration. We find ourselves in Redland, amongst the nightlife of gambling dens and brothels, and buskers performing in the streets, and callers ushering patrons into local theater houses like the Harlow Theater, which is your theater. We follow a young couple into the establishment through 2 sets of doors that empty into a dim, lamp-lit theater. On the stage is Beatrice Aubrey, a real Southern belle strumming a shanty on her acoustic guitar about finding love at sea. We continue moving down the aisle and onto the stage as the audience around us claps and cheers and sings along with Beatrice, and then whoosh, we're backstage. A stoic woman in her 40s tucks a stray gray lock of hair behind one ear and pulls a cigarette out from behind the other. This is the owner of the Harlow, Miss Morgan Montgomery. She lights the smoke and peeks past the curtain towards the audience. The house is packed and lively tonight, Blackstone. You better fetch the missus. You go on next. John Blackstone, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
I'm John Blackstone, a vaudeville magician in the establishment. My second part and better half to the act is Wilhelmina, who will be coming through shortly, and I'm playing the magician.
So you
Spit
know
out the character,
right? Got the get up going. But you know that Willow is with the ward that she's taken in, her sister's child, Oliver, and she's hanging out in a room that they have Oliver in, kind of like a little setup and whatever, because Oliver's on his sick bed. So you head through the theater and you find them there. Let's get Willow to describe yourself as John Blackstone comes into the room. And this is a closed door room. It's kind of like a cast room that nobody's using. They're letting you have it for Oliver because everyone at the theater house that you guys work at kind of know Oliver's condition, which worsens every day. But Willow, why don't you give us a description of yourself?
So I would imagine that we probably have a cot that has been made up for Oliver there because he's been feverish really pretty strongly for the last few days, especially. Things just continue getting worse. So as the camera kind of pans across to Willow, you would see Willow's a little bit hard to describe in terms of how she looks. She's definitely pretty, but she has like a stronger nose that's probably been broken a couple times. Maybe she didn't have the easiest upbringing. She has dark circles under her eyes, and her hair just never sits quite right like all the girls in fashion. But right now, all of her attention is on Ollie, and as John walks into the room, you can tell that they have eyes only for each other most of the time as she kind of looks up and smiles with dancing eyes, but a sadness that never quite leaves her. And she's going to kind of lean down and kiss Oliver on the forehead. All right, now you be good, Ollie, okay? We'll be back, all right?
And as you do that, Mo, you're playing Oliver. Oliver, you're currently unconscious, but let's just give a brief description of your of what you look like.
Sure, yeah. Oliver is 10 years old. He's got a mop of brown hair, kind of a mess on his head, especially since he's been so sick. It's sort of plastered to his forehead and stuff. He's got very deep green eyes and, very dark circles under his eyes. His flesh is very pale at this point. He's sort of wearing a white nightie kind of thing. And he's just being unconscious at this point.
But I feel like somewhere it resonates in you when Willow kisses your forehead. And in that exact moment, Larkin comes into the doorway.
Yeah, Larkin enters. Larkin, a quick description. He's quite tall, I'd say about 6'6", but in a very unimpressive way, in an unfortunate way. He doesn't really have a lot of money for specialty clothing, so everything is way too baggy, or it doesn't fit quite right. It's too tight. He's very gangly and skinny. Probably only weighs, even for that height, 160 pounds. He's kind of a pale, splotchy fella. He probably comes in having just done a last check on whatever props you two might need for your act. And I walk in and I just say, "Any news? What's the story?"
Much of the same.
Yeah, I think he's I'm looking down at Ollie after looking up at Larkin. No, I think he's doing better. I think he's turning. I think his fever's broken. Honest, I really do.
Well, he's a tough lad. I'm sure he'll make it through.
He's gonna be good.
You hear from the hallway, John, Willow, we need you on stage.
Okay. Are you ready, John?
Ready as ever. I'll
Okay.
touch your
gonna-
shoulder as like a reaffirming kind of gesture.
As we like head out the door, I'm gonna just 1 second. We'll be right there. And I'm gonna turn into the corner with John and open a very small little locket that I keep, and just one for a good show. And I'm gonna put right on my long nail and it's a scarlet powder.
One for the road.
Lean it up to you, John.
And John and me all take it, ready for show business.
All right. So you guys rush through the backstage. It's not that big of a theater, but big enough. And you kind of hurdle through a couple people, and you get to the stage curtain where Morgan, who she's the owner and proprietor of this place, but she also acts as the stage manager. And she looks at you guys while she's smoking on her cigarette. She says, "All right, kids, like always, bring the ship to port so we can go home and get sloppy drunk." And you guys take the stage. Tell us about your act. How do you take the stage? How do you open it up? I'll give you guys however long you want to entertain us.
I figure our act is called Through the Veil, A Night of Spirits. Kind of like what you'll see on posters scrolling around our kind of like spot of the neighborhood. It'll be a stage set with like dim lighting, a simple kind of wooden chair in the center of the stage there. Yeah.
And so the first bit is that the lights would go completely out in the room. This is a late night special because it's off the beaten path. So the lights go off to get all the drunks and the rabble-rousers quiet. And then you see, carrying a lamp across the stage, Willow walks out in a vaudeville costume and sets the lamp down on the chair. And she's going to gently turn it on so that the gas lights just dimly and lean down. And as she blows at it, across the room, wherever there's a table, they all flicker into light that glows off of the audience, and they are immediately connected. And that's the start of the show. And from there, John comes in sweeping. It's a lot of just movements around the stage as we're doing blooming flowers, and just the first portion of our act is all just little smoke and mirrors stuff.
Like prestidigitation type. Awesome. So
Yeah,
while
yeah.
you guys are starting your act and getting into it, we jump back to the room with Oliver and Larkin in it. Oliver, you're still unconscious. Good there.
Oliver continues to be unconscious.
Larkin. You're close. You're as close as anyone with John, Willow, and Oliver. You've been together. I believe that. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've come to this vaudeville act together, or you started together. So you're kind of like an uncle to Oliver. You're very close. But when a stagehand named Bruno comes to the door, he seems like there's an urgency to him. He softly knocks and he opens it up and leans his head in. "Hey, Larkin, there's two guys here to see you. One of them's just like a big guy, and the other one seems a little serious. You know what that's about?"
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know.
Well, I sent him
I
downstairs to the prop shop to wait for you. So consider the message given.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. And I think I just, as they leave, I think I just turn back to Oliver and I'll just put a hand on his shoulder and just kind of squeeze it. And I've started sweating already, and I'll just kind of make my way slowly unwillingly, but resolutely down to the prop room.
A couple moments after you leave, we stay in the room. The camera stays in this room. And Oliver, you start to stir awake. It takes a considerable amount of effort, but you manage to open your eyes. But this sickness that you have leaves you physically ravaged by illness. To show how fragile you are, I want you to mark down 3 body marks.
Okay.
So when your eyes open, you see that you are alone. Your breath seizes in your lungs. You're afraid. This is what you felt when your mother, Margaret, Maggie to her friends, stepped off that curb. She was holding your hand at the time and looking back at you with that warm smile of hers. A smile that made you forget all of your worries. And for that brief moment, you didn't worry about the truck that you saw coming. The truck that would take your mother's life a breath later. Because of this fear, I also want you to mark down 3 brain marks. Your breathing has slowed, but you're focused. The fear eventually subsides, as you can now hear muffled sounds of the usual backstage chaos you've lived in for the last year. Enough to remember where you are, backstage at the Harlow Theater. Beyond the chaos, you can even hear the faint sounds of John and Aunt Willow's act. It's been some time since you've seen their act in person, but because you've been too weak to leave this room. How does that make you feel?
Scared. I think I'm reaching out for comfort. I'm imagining that I would love to crawl my way to them because I don't want to be alone. Feel cold. And I'm covered in sweat, and I can feel something coming, and it's just creating this rising panic in me.
You know that this weakness, this ache inside your body, it feels different tonight. It's the same, but it's more. And despite your young age, you know that this is your last night. You know that Oliver is dying tonight. As that resonates, there's a soft knock at the door.
Uh,
You don't have to
Willow?
answer. It opens, and the gentleman that was there before, Bruno, kind of sticks his head in. Oh, hey there, Oliver. Yeah, I felt like, Larkin took off, and your parents, your ward, your aunt and uncle, they're on stage. Yeah, it's all right. I got a minute. I can sit with you.
Bruno, I need my Aunt Willow.
Yeah,
Please.
he kind of comes in, and Bruno's like, he's a stagehand. He's a little rough and tumble, but he's not that big of a guy. He's like an average size. But he's sensitivity is not his thing, but he cares for you. You've seen him around. He kind of comes in, kind of fidgets and hesitantly, gets closer to you, and Oliver, they're on stage. I can't. They're doing the final act. I mean, they'll be done, but it's going to be another 20 minutes or so. I could sit with you if you want, or I can bring you if you're up for it.
Yes. Please, Bruno, will you carry me?
Yeah,
Please.
I think I can do that. He kind of looks around, and he grabs a blanket that he wraps you in. He picks you up, as gently as he can, and then he walks towards the stage.
Bruno, you're a
John,
nice man.
oh, thanks, kid. I you used to like their show so much. I feel like it's gonna be great. You'll see. They're doing all your favorite bits right now. And he continues to the curtain so you can kind of watch. While he's walking over there, let's go back to the stage. We'll get to Larkin in a second. Let's go back to the stage. I think you guys are kind of starting your second act. Do you have a lead in for that?
Yeah, so for John's second act, he takes a decayed bouquet and kind of, to the audience's perception, levitates it up to the up in the air, and kind of with a snap of his fingers say, even in decay, there's a seed of life waiting, yearning to bloom once more, and swipes his hand, and the bouquet of flowers kind of blooms back to life.
Nice.
And with the freshly bloomed flowers, I will take them in my hand and hand them over to Wilhelmina, who is sitting in the chair that was in the center of the stage.
And I'm doing my best, like, shy lover moment, because again, part of our act is very much the question of, "Ooh, are they?" Which in reality, again, we are, which is how it is so convincing. But I kind of like look down gently and kind of tuck my hair behind and look up and stand, showcasing John again, more of the same. And then we would move into the third act when we come back around, right? The last final piece.
Let me jump to Larkin before we get to the third act. Larkin, you head to a downstairs area, which is where the prop shop is, which is where you primarily work at this theater. You're very familiar with this area, but before I introduce the men that are here to see you, give us a little brief description of how your prop shop is, like how you would set it up.
Yeah, I think the prop shop has a lot of, segmented spots for different acts so that they can easily, with the flow of the show, everything is organized. So I have a bow and arrow in a specific spot for a specific performance. I have some juggling gear, some, knives and colored bollards, and maybe some cannonballs as well, I think. We've got a strong man somewhere around here. We've got an air cannon. Fire that right at his chest. It's a big act. One of those cannonballs looks like it weighs a lot, let me tell you. And I think the thing that's let out on the desk that I was just working on would be Oliver's old tap shoes, which, even though he doesn't use them anymore, I polish them every night just to, just in case if there's, maybe he'll turn the next morning and be in a better spot. And just as a little note, I think Larkin is a very intuitive guy, and on any other night, if he wasn't about to go into this place to do what he has to do, I think there's just a moment on the stairs where he hesitates. And he just keeps moving forward.
So as you move forward and you get to the prop shop, that mental image that you just described, you open up the door and there are two men waiting for you. The first man, big, thuggish, a bodyguard of some type. You know that your business is with the second man, a slender, shorter, darker skinned man. It doesn't take long for you to register it. This is Cardinal Ibarra of the Ascendancy. He's the front runner to becoming the next Divine Herald, which is the most powerful member of the Ascendancy. He scrutinizes you. Then, after a moment, the bills should all be in there. And he slides a briefcase along the setup that you had on the table, kind of like pushing everything else out of the way and mixing up your stuff, your organization. Let's get this over with. What do you need from me?
I kind of hold up a finger and I take Oliver's shoes and put them where they're supposed to be. And then as I'm doing that, I use it a little bit as a cover to release a latch, so a hidden compartment in one of the drawers opens up. And there's just a wrap of leather, has a few small tools and implements in there. I take that out, take out a small bowl, almost like for a mortar and pestle. I just leave that out and I unroll the leather, and inside it is one of those old school nail clippers. There's hair scissors, and there's a scalpel. And I just kind of look at the guy, and as I open or attempt to open the briefcase, I just say to them, a nail, some blood or hair, whatever you provide. And I'll open it and I'll just make sure that everything's in there.
He looks at the setup that you have. Takes some hair. And he kind of just, he doesn't really lean or help you out. He just kind of like subtly just leans, you know, ever so slightly towards you.
Is this an older guy where the amount of hair is perhaps limited?
It's not limited. His hair is not limited, but he is an older guy, an older gentleman.
Okay. So I'll be kind and I'll go to the back of his head where it won't really be noticed that much to just take a small little clipping. As I take it, I just kind of grab his hand a little tighter than I probably should for what ostensibly he's treating as a customer service interaction. And I'll just say to him, any warning for what I'm going to see?
He doesn't answer. He doesn't dare say it aloud. He just looks at you.
Well, don't worry. I'm going to be clean now. And I'll just start to eat and choke down the hair. I think that I have before been better able to, or more inclined to describe the process to the individual beforehand. But I just don't get the impression, just with the way he treated the space, I don't think he deserves any warning. So I won't be giving them any instruction about what's about to happen or what they should do. So if they stay, I start to sweat more, and there's like a scratching that I think they initially assume is just a part of this gross process.
He looks at a timepiece, kind of like this is his time. You feel like he's unsure if he needs to stay or not.
Yeah. I think that usually in these encounters, the people stay, at least for the beginning. So I usually don't have to say anything. They eventually leave of their own accord.
Which may sure be the case.
Yeah. So I think as I finally manage to choke this down and I start kind of almost the scratchiness of just trying to choke this down changes a little bit, and my eyes start to bulge and go red, and my airways obstructed, and I kind of just thrust everything off the desk, all of the materials that would be used, and this was very neatly arranged, but now it looks like chaos.
Yeah, when you do that, I think the bodyguard grabs him and pulls him closer to the door. And if you're not stopping them, they're gone.
I don't stop them. Okay. So as they leave, I think I'm just slamming my hands down on the desk, and as I pull and scratch my fingernails into it, one of my fingernails pops. And as it starts to bleed, I kind of flick it, and now there's blood staining me, and I can't breathe, and I'm turning purple until finally this small purple creature, this small, has characteristics, I think, of a mollusk, maybe some kind of a sea snail, but with a human face, just starts to slowly worm its way out of my mouth. And as it is still blocking the airway slightly, I'm gently pulling it out. And as it's much longer than I initially expected. It starts to get close to half a foot, and eventually I just can't. I can't take it anymore. And I look at the thing, and it has these patches of hair beside vestigial, half-formed limbs, indicative that whatever sin I am consuming of this person, whatever it is that this person has done, at least this thing that I am taking from them, I don't know if it directly involves someone very young, or perhaps someone who wasn't born. It's tough to interpret these things from just what the sin looks like. But as with all sins, it's trying to get back to where it belongs. These tiny little arms with webbed fingers that are starting to separate, starts reaching towards the door. And I can't get it all out, so I'm just going to start biting on this long form. And as I sever it with my teeth, I start to eat and consume it again to complete the ritual. And in that moment, only once I've consumed each and every piece of this creature, gagging halfway through, I have to force it back in. Only then will the memory of this sin depart from the cardinal, and it will now live with me, and I will only remember it as if it's from my perspective that I have done.
Do you know what the sin was?
I think if you're giving me free reign,
Free reign.
I think that this person, or like many members of the Ascendancy or the Triumvirate, uses money to paper over inconsequential things, and inconsequential things would be the needs or wants of other people. So I think I see in very rapid flashes just victims of this priest over their lifespan, right? People that he keeps close to him as just things for him to play with. And I don't think that there's any specific detail of this was the thing this cardinal always did to abuse people, be it physically or mentally. But I think it's, for them, completely about power, and them seeing how far they could push someone, what they could get them to do just for fear of displeasing them. And I think the lasting image, and it's not me seeing a woman weeping, it's me seeing a woman weeping because I'm telling them that they have to go to a doctor that evening. And I won't be seeing them ever again. And I'm telling them this, and I enjoy it. And Larkin, who is a very nice guy, is just filled with all these collections of feelings and memories that he's adopted from others. But they're his now.
And I feel.
I ask
Yeah.
what you are like as that ritual is closing, if the scene is set, what that looks like, you in this dimly lit room, like visually.
Yeah, I think that I'm just behind the desk. There's some viscera, there's some blood, and just imagining someone eating something with their hands over a long period of time, and the scratch that would have been made up my throat as this thing was birthed from me, I think is probably there's retching and just an animalistic attempt to just cover it. But then, unfortunately, there is this period where, after pain being flooded with these chemicals, that my body is telling me, we need to keep this person alive, we need to keep them going. But it's insidious, because then I relax, because all I really feel is pleasure because of this thing that I've now experienced for the first time for me.
And I think the taint from this this sin that you've eaten, that you've taken from this man, it goes without question. Like you obviously you pointed out the pleasure that you were taking from it, because that's what he was taking from it. I think it goes further than that. I think it's attached to other sins very similar to this one, but you didn't take those, but you know that they're there. And all of that consuming, you go out, you drop unconscious, and I want you to take a scar and brain.
As you're dropping unconscious, remember that from the other area, there is a loud "Wah!" as we are like finishing a show from the front, just the dichotomy of what's happening in this scene.
Yes.
Yeah, rapturous applause. And if they didn't close the door,
And as
fair.
soon as you hit, the crowd applauses and cheers as John and Willow finish their second act, and they're moving into their grand finale. Oliver, Bruno brings you over behind the stage. Morgan's there. She sees you. She kind of gives you a smile. She puts her cigarette out. She ruffles your hair a little bit, kind of gives you a smile like nothing's wrong. She's glad to see you, but behind her eyes, you can see that there's a little bit of pain, sadness, because she sees what you look like and she knows what you've been through. And she kind of steps away. And you take her place, and Bruno kind of sets you up there, and you're watching back, and Willow, you see Oliver. Go on.
I think you'd see a knowing look from Oliver as he sort of is just staring at you. A look that says goodbye. And I think he says something, but you can't hear what he says.
So I need to pull this into the act real quick, okay?
Yeah.
So the final part of our act, John, is, do you want to kind of set the scene and I'll paint after?
Yeah. So for the final part of the show, John will take some glasses out of his coat jacket and put them on, warning the audience of careful with your eyes. Now for the final act, my dearest Wilhelmina will cross the threshold into the unknown. Through her, the voices of the long gone may speak once again, but such power comes with the price that only the dead may answer. And I'll pull a little timepiece watch out of my jacket as well, and it'll click back and forth, lulling Willow into a hypnosis.
Oh, Rachel.
Rachel, yeah.
Hear you.
Oh, you're muted, I think.
Got it. So the people that work with us, you would all know that this piece of the act is where the lines between what is act and what is just Willow's capabilities are blurred. Because I, in Candela Obscura, am the role of the medium. This is piercing the veil, and sometimes we fake it. Clicks and little gestures to indicate what we want to pretend is happening. Other nights, if I'm so drawn, I might actually seek out an energy in the room. So as he is hypnotizing me, I'm kind of lulling and smiling down to myself at the moment that I am feeling the energies rise in the room. And I look over to Oliver. And you're there with that final look. And I think because of that moment, I realized that this is a goodbye in your eyes. And steal my face and look back towards the audience, trying to do, as a lot of women do in our lives, juggle as many balls and spin as many plates as we can at the same time. Because this is how we will feed our family, but this is how I will keep them, is I'm going to reach out with my energy to the spirit of Oliver that is slipping beyond the veil and try desperately to tether it as a tear is slipping down my cheek as the audience is watching and I begin to speak. But the speaking would be nonsensical to anyone in the audience.
I was waiting for you to speak in tongues.
No, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Like,
I feel like that moment It takes a little longer than usual. You feel that you've tapped into something beyond the veil, beyond the flame, that you have this wish in your head for Oliver to be safe, to protect him. This promise that you made to Maggie, your sister, long ago, before her death and everything, that if something would happen, that you would take Oliver in and watch over him. And I think there is John, you notice, which is not normally part of this part of the act, that the lamp light in the room dim. That's usually how you open the act, but this isn't. This just starts happening, and everything but the spotlight that's on Willow is gone. Is like very low. You can't even see it. And the spotlight seems like it's getting brighter and brighter. Way too bright for lamps. You know, this is almost like that newfangled electricity that's been in town, that it's just getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And Willow, you just kind of go into like a trance almost, that the audience kind of bleeds out in this light, and you just see this whiteness, and it's warm. There's a little bit of cold to it as well, but you can just kind of feel like you get goosebumps as you're lost in this moment, and you reach out and you grab something. Oliver, in this moment, this is the last moment of your life. Tell us the story of Oliver's death.
I feel myself slipping away, and I want so badly to smile so that I can, because I can feel her sadness. And as I'm slipping away, sort of not just physically going to sleep, but my spirit is going to sleep, I feel this other presence. And inside my head, I hear a voice. Please, I need to make this right. I'm sorry. And the words that Aunt Willow couldn't hear me say were, "It's okay. It's okay." And then I fade away.
So Oliver, or Professor, the shock of being pulled through the flare and thrust in this child was very brutal for both of you, for you and Oliver. This event is going to mark you with a scar, but I want you to decide which scar you're taking. Is it going to be body, brain, or bleed?
Well, I've already had. Can I get more than 3 scars? Or 3 marks, because I've got body and brain all scarred up.
The 4th mark would give you a scar, but that's okay. Oliver's business. You're Professor now, so those will go away when we do the job.
Got it.
But right now, just think about what you're going to take, and then I'll get back to. I know several of you. Larkin, you took a scar. Oliver, you're taking a scar.
Yeah.
And Willow. In that moment where the professor takes over and you pull the spirit through, I'm also going to give you a scar. A bleed scar. And now we're going to jump forward in time. It's nighttime. We find the group of you standing in a light rain before a weathered fence. Though it's hidden from sight to the average passerby, behind the fence is the now empty lot that used to be the Harlow Theater. 2 months ago, the day after the performance we just saw that changed everything, the Harlow burned to the ground, leaving 2 people dead. A stagehand named Bruno and the owner and proprietor, Morgan Montgomery. The blaze was peculiar enough to gain the attention of the organization you came to know as Candela Obscura. All of you were questioned thoroughly, and afterward, a lightkeeper named Quinn invited you for tea. Let's start out by describing anything new that has changed in the last 2 months. And as we do that, I want to go through for Larkin, Oliver, and Willow to describe the scar that you took and how it affects you moving forward. Let's start with Larkin.
Yeah, physically or appearance-wise, visually, the only thing that you'd really notice, I guess it's two things, would be these just kind of slight marks on my neck. Not as if someone had like strangled me or throttled me, but just some bruising that won't quite go away. And then also I started carrying, it's a medallion, and it used to have some iconography, some religious thing on it that I've gotten rid of, but for whatever reason I still have this chain, which is not a habit that I ever had before. It's just a habit that I picked up. And for my scar, I'm calling that scar Cardinal Sin. And that would have gone from my control, which has gone down, because a little bit of my control, I think, breaks down the more sins I take on. And then my sense has increased to 3.
And Oliver, let's go to you next. What scar did you take, and how does it affect you?
Yeah, so I'm calling my scar Wound of Fate. And I now walk with a limp, a slight limp, but pronounced. And so I don't move as fast as I used to.
Okay. So your move went down, and what got bolstered?
My focus got bolstered.
Okay. Fair enough. And then Willow. You took a bleed scar. How does that affect Willow? Tell us about it.
Okay, so this is going to be where I've already named my scar, but this is going to be where I'm going to need a little bit of GM assistance.
Sure.
Obviously, I get body and I get brain, but the bleed is to my...
So bleed is, like a bleed scar would be something that it could be internal or it can be external. I think, we've seen in the past, like, a finger was removed and there was a flame, or something supernatural, something, bleed, as we know, is like the essence, the like radiation that comes off of the paranormal, the phenomena that is in this world. So it would be something in the supernatural, something in the magic with a K type of vibe.
So I would say that, so I'm calling my scar not good enough, because in that last moment I was trying to reach out to Oliver. I really think I almost, and I think it would come across as kind of primarily to my eyes that are now much paler. And in the dark, although John is the only person who usually sees me in the dark, except that we have an act. I now have to close my eyes if we're on stage, because my eyes actually glow a bit in the dark at this point. And if you inspect very closely, all of the orifices of my face actually are tinged just a little bit red, like the scarlet that I snort. The ears, the nostrils, the edges of my mouth, and in the corners of my eyes.
Okay. I like that. I think it's great. I want to go a step further and say that you can see in low, not complete darkness, but you see as normal in dim light with a little bit of light. So it's kind of like infravision, basically.
Listen, I love it when trauma gives me
Something.
abilities. That's my whole childhood.
Great. And John, you didn't take a scar, but what has changed with John? Is anything physically worse?
Yeah. So
in today's world,
John came out relatively unscathed compared to his friends that night, though I think John, his demeanor has changed. It took more of a kind of an emotional toll on him. I think not kind of being in tune with Oliver as he was dying. I was caught up in the act and kind of didn't notice what was going on as much. I was probably like the last to kind of catch on. And I think so yeah, John's a little more disheveled than he used to be. He used to be a little more dapper. Also kind of blaming being on Scarlet a little bit for why the act may have gotten a little out of hand, where we normally can kind of reel it in. But yeah.
all right, right on.
Sorry, just real quick.
Yeah,
I just wanted to mention two other things that are significant about Oliver since the event. He reads constantly and is always writing in a notebook. And his personality has changed a little bit, as anyone would going through that kind of trauma. He's not so happy-go-lucky anymore. He's much more serious and like quiet than he was before.
And he's made a full recovery other than the limp.
Yeah. I mean, he's still nervously thin, but that's just mostly from the way that we live.
He's 10 also.
And are we, can I just ask,
Yeah.
has everyone been fairly forthcoming to everyone else in this close-knit group about what our understanding of what happened was?
Oliver, I don't remember what happened, and I see, I act, I kind of seem, when you talk to me, I seem relatively the same.
I think it was mostly for Willow was more of the thing I was wondering about.
I think the adults in the room probably have had this conversation a couple of times about what happened that night. I certainly would have explained to John as soon as we got off stage, as soon as the curtain closed, right, for the evening, the ramshackle curtain that it is, bolting off stage to Oliver, who was sleeping peacefully, and swearing, no, something was wrong. Something was really, really wrong. I swear, John, I know it. Something was so wrong. But he woke up the next day. I think we all would have had conversations about it. For Willow, though, the same woman that you saw the night that Oliver passed away, I knew it. I told you he was going to get better. I felt it. I knew it. So,
And he did. And it's miraculous that he was literally on death's door, and within the last 2 months, or really only like 2 weeks, it was like almost a full recovery. Doctors at the clinic, like it was, everyone just feels that it's a miracle. This shouldn't have happened. He shouldn't have gotten better. He shouldn't have recovered from the illness that he had. And now you are standing here. Oh, sorry.
if Larkin and John try to push that subject with me, it probably does. I am not having it. I am not having that conversation with you. But what do you two maybe? My ears.
I was gonna mention that a little, yeah. I think John's a little quietly suspicious of, because while he's so much better health-wise, his mannerisms and everything are so different that I know not to say anything to Willow because I don't want to break this kind of positivity going on with her, but with Larkin, we definitely shoot glares and have
So, yeah,
quiet
I think
discussions.
so. That's all I wanted to know was if that's the case, then there's not going to be any investigation of this gift on Willow's End. So that might not be that might be someone else's purview. Okay.
And now you're standing here in front of a fence with the empty lot of the Harlow behind it. And on that weathered fence, you see various fly postings, advertisements, advertising the countless vices of Red Lamp. The brothels, the casinos, the drinking dens. But peeking out from behind those newer flyers and the show bills, you see faces. Kurt Vanderpool, Olivia Chan, Luis Torres, and several others who have gone missing. The one you don't see up there is a woman named Harmony Thompson, which is the reason you were sent here by Lightkeeper Quinn. The details are very simple. The daughter of an affluent family is missing, and she was last seen in Red Lamp entering the Mystic Cabaret, a vaudeville theater that became quite popular in the absence of the Harlow. You know that this isn't the normal Candela Obscura assignment, even though you're new. This isn't what they usually send you out to do. However, Harmony's mother is somehow linked to your organization, and she called in a favor. That favor landed in your laps either because of your theater backgrounds or because you're new and you need the experience. Whichever it was, and whatever your feelings are about it, a woman has gone missing, and finding her is still a good thing. You turn around, and almost directly across the street is the Mystic Cabaret. A caller around the same age as Oliver stands out front. Come one, come all. There's something in the Mystic for everyone. Do you like music? Well, do we have a show for you? Do you like comedy? You'll never laugh harder. You like spectacle and mysticism? Then the Mystic is the place for quality entertainment. Now, the Mystic Cabaret knows nothing of your investigation because you know nothing of the Mystic Cabaret. And quite frankly, there are no suspects, which, like Keeper Quinn keeps telling you, means that everybody is a suspect. Harmony is a socialite. She's in her early 20s. She's pretty. She has blonde hair worn short. She has a beauty mark on the left side of her neck. She snorts when she laughs. She frequents Red Lamp. She enjoys performance. She enjoys people. Maybe enjoys imbibing a bit too much. She stays out late frequently. But she always sleeps in her own bed. And that's how her parents know that she's missing. You've been asked by Lightkeeper Quinn to be discreet no matter what you find. And I'm going to hand it over to you guys to tell me what you're going to do.
What time of day is it?
It is nighttime, a little after midnight. You know that the Mystic Cabaret has a midnight gala, which is, it goes their whole lineup. It usually lasts, 2-3 hours. It starts at midnight and it's just after midnight. So you can see people, this boy's out there kind of trying to fill the room. And you can see people, every once in a while people go in and you can hear the audience from inside that are responding to whatever's on the stage. It's booming. It gives you guys feelings of the Harlow in its biggest heyday.
I think I'm going to turn to Oliver, who's with us because of kind of expectations set by Candela Obscura that he participate, given that he is giving off readings significant enough to warrant his inclusion into paranormal investigation that I have disagreed with a little bit vocally. But given the lateness of the hour and the chill in the air, I'm going to turn to Ollie and Oliver, here. Oh, I hate it when you do that. Here, and I'm going to start tithering with his jacket, kind of pulling it closer onto him. I'm going to go down onto just one knee on the pavement, kind of scratching my hosiery and stuff, and kind of, and you have a smudge just right there. Hold on just a second.
Auntie, I'm fine.
I know you are. Look at you. You're doing so good. I'm so proud of you. I promise that we're going to get you home just as early as we can, okay? I know it's late.
Really, I'm fine.
You're so brave. I'm going to like smile up to John and kind of lose my smile for a second and look at Larkin and then kind of stand up and straighten.
At Ollie on the back and say, "Look, see, he's fine." So, should we head in? I think maybe bartenders would be kind of good folks to talk to with this kind of thing.
And it'll help us blend in, be discreet if we're there for the show, yeah?
You always look better with a drink in your hand.
All right.
That's right.
So yeah, you guys cross the street and you pass the caller there, and he sees you kind of heading into the door, and he's like, come on in, tips appreciated," and he holds his hand out.
John, Taberman,
Okay.
Yeah,
what
John.
show are y'all doing
Hey,
tonight?
look.
A few shillings.
Oh, we have a whole lineup of shows. We got we got Gloria Friendly, we got singers, we got dancers, we got a musician, we got a muscle man. I think the muscle man's on there right now. You better hurry in. You don't want to miss it.
That sounds lovely. Is the magician any good?
I've seen better.
Me too. And I'm just going to walk in.
What about the other three of you? You follow?
Do we know what? I apologize if I missed it in my note taking, but what was Harmony's role? Was there anything
Socialite.
performative?
Oh,
No, she's
Like
just
at the part of any show.
no, she's known kind of what have you've been told of her is that she likes performances. She goes to a lot of the theaters, more audience patron. She's not a performer of any kind that you know of.
She's like a party girl or whatever they call them.
Socialite.
Yeah.
Socialite. Thank you.
Sure.
she's a
Why-
flapper. She has like shorn hair and stuff, but she hangs out around here, I would assume. Was she maybe here the night that she went missing?
Well, that's what you got to find out.
It's just to me, if we're being sent here, there's a chance that there's something else behind or something.
That's what maybe you could
Go
guess
ahead.
that she might frequent the bar or something like that.
Or a bartender.
So do you guys follow Willow in?
I hang back for just a second and I look at the boy and I'm just kind of staring at him.
He kind of like stares at you for like a moment, and then he goes back to like calling, "Come on, everybody, come on in. We got a great show for you tonight." And he starts doing his spiel.
You're not doing it right.
He just kind of like pushes you a little bit, like, "What do you know?"
I know a lot. You got to project more. Use your diaphragm. Ha ha. Pretend like you're a panting dog. It'll allow you to project more. You're gonna ruin your throat that way.
Yeah, whatever. Get out of here. I'm working here.
Okay, but don't
He
be
starts
mad at me if you lose your voice. Then I walk in.
As you're walking in, you kind of hear from behind you that his voice gets a little deeper, like he's using his diaphragm, like you said, but he would never let you know that. But you can hear the change that he's taking your advice. So you four head in. You three catch up with Willow. As you enter the Mystic Cabaret, you definitely get more of that familiar tingle from within. That this is your element. This is your people. Your scene. It's nice to be back within it, within any theater. You enter through double doors into a crowded bar. The room the bar room opens up to the audience and to the stage beyond the audience. It's roughly the size of the Harlow. Currently, like the boy said, there's a strong man on stage. He's bending some iron bars and like ripping books apart and stuff like that as the audience roots him on. Like the audience is very, very vaudeville, very crowd participation. Where do you guys want to go first? You said bartender.
I'll back up Blackstone. Yeah, I'll back up Blackstone at the bar.
Yeah, I'll as I catch up to Willow, tap her on the shoulder and point gesture over to the bar on the other side of the room there, and we'll make our way over, and I'll flash my hand up trying to get like a bartender's attention. Is it a little busy in there?
You all kind of have to push, like Willow, you grab Oliver's hand probably instinctually just to like pull him through because it's crowded. It's like standing room only, and most people are standing in this bar area, like watching over. This place is packed. Like I said, this is like the Harlow in its heyday. You guys are getting the feels from it, but you manage to weave your way to the bar, John.
I'm doing that woman thing where I'm parting the crowd for the people with me. You know what I mean? Just shouldering. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Oh, just a minute. I'm so sorry about that. We're just, just making our way through.
So Willow trailblazes to the bar. And John, she's done this so many times. She knows her how to get to the bar fast. So you get to the bar, and then she kind of like opens it up for who's doing the speaking in this moment? Is it going to be you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you wave your hand. Go ahead and let's make the first roll. Let's make sway roll to see if you get the bartender's attention before someone else.
Are there any available stools?
Yep. Tools? How do you mean?
Stools.
Stool.
At the bar.
Oh, stools. No, there's no bars. There's no stools. This is just a bar and then standing room only for the there's no tables, nothing. It's just literally the bar that people are leaning up against and talking in groups. You know how people do, like when they're not in the audience, they just make too much noise in the back, but they're selling booze, they don't care. But let's make a sway. So this is just a simple pass-fail. If you get a mixed success or a full success, you get the attention. If you don't, you don't. It'll take a minute.
Okay. And then I got 2 bubbles circled in on sway, so I use 2d6.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have the triangle? Is it gilded or not? I don't
Gilded.
know.
So I use one of these little gilded guys, right?
Yeah. So you switch one of them out. Cool.
2 4s.
2 4s?
Yeah, I got a 4 and a 4.
Is that a critical in this game?
I believe so, right?
Right?
Nope.
Is it just 2 sticks?
I haven't even ever.
Doubles in Daggerheart is.
I should know this. I know there is a critical in this game, but
only 2 6s, I think.
Whatever the case, you manage to get the bartender's attention. It's a female bartender, and she kind of rolls over to you and throws a towel over her shoulders. What can I get you guys?
I'll take a gin Ricky, please.
She laughs and kind of reaches over the bar and shuffles your hair, and then looks to the adults.
What kind of I want to know, because so there are some reasons that I'm asking. We know that Harmony was a party girl. We also know that in this district, Scarlet, which again is a little habit that some of us have, it is not legal, but it certainly is prevalent. It is around. But you have to, just like with anything that's not quite legal, you have to know where, if you're in the kind of place that would be open to you asking for it.
Right.
Would any of us, maybe me, gauging around, know if we could ask for that kind of a thing? Because that would tell me 2 things. 1, that they have it. 2, that maybe Harmony might have been looking for it.
Gotcha. This isn't a known Scarlet. Like, they have Scarlet houses, okay. And like you said, a lot of it's overlooked by the periphery because it brings in a lot of money, and unless something happens there, they usually just let it go. In the Redland, in this district, this isn't a Scarlet establishment, so they wouldn't advertise or they wouldn't have Scarlet. Most likely, from being in the theater crowd, you know that somebody in here probably sells it. Could be a worker, could it be an employee of the house, could be just somebody else. I would say that because of your habit, you would know the phrases to say to ask for it, on the DL, so nobody, anybody listening that doesn't know wouldn't know.
What's the house red?
She kind of like grins. We used to have a house red, but we don't anymore because we had some trouble. But I can have somebody find you if you're going to be here for a bit.
Yeah, listen, we're here all night. That'd be fantastic. My name's well, Willow.
She kind of
Nice to have
reaches
a
over.
show.
She reaches over and just kind of, just the tip of your fingers because her hands are like sticky and whatever. She doesn't want to get you too much. My name's Gwendolyn.
Nice to meet you, Gwen. Sorry, Gwendolyn.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Is there anything that I can get you drink wise, and then I can have somebody find you, with the red.
Yeah, a whiskey for me and my friend there. And Willow, what would you like?
Just something bubbly.
What about the tall guy? Is he with you?
Oh yeah, the whiskey, the other whiskey's for him.
One of those small ones is for me, yeah.
Gotcha. She nods and takes your order and goes back and, brings 3 somewhat clean glasses, puts them on the counter, pours them up. And Willow, what did you order again? I'm sorry.
Something bubbly.
Something
Probably
bubbly.
something in a flute.
Yeah, she has a different glass for you. It's more of a flute. She does like a little razzle dazzle with the bottles or whatever, and makes a pretty display of it. And she pours it through, and it is definitely bubbly. It's kind of like a mixed drink. I wouldn't say it's like bubbly like a champagne, but it's a mixed thing, and there's a little bubble to it. And then she kind of puts like a little fruit on the rim. Why she has a fruit, I don't know, but she did it. It's happened. It's canon.
Listen, she's a girl's girl. We love that.
Yeah.
We love to see it.
And she gives you a little wink, and then she moves on to the next customers. Unless you're gonna retain her attention for anything.
Also say maybe Shirley Temple or something for the little guy.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any?
Do
you have any Zima?
Wine cooler.
She gets like a glass from behind the bar, and she just like pours a little Shirley Temple in it. And Willow, you can stop her if she wants, but she does do like a little splash of something heavier in it, and she gives it to the boy.
I'm gonna look down
put hair
at
on your
Oliver.
chest.
All right, listen. If you're gonna work like a man, you could drink like a man. So you're on the job. Just one though.
Just a little bit. Just a little splash, just to get the flavor to overtake the.
Me and Gwen, I'll wink at her like. Woo.
And she starts to move on to the next customers. So what are you guys doing now?
How many entrances and exits out of this place?
1 that you can see is the entrance that you came into. And if you know if it's similar to the Harlow, it's probably the only entrance that there is. This isn't a fire code time period. But you do remember. Well, actually, let's make a. What's the memory?
Focus is for remember.
Focus. Yeah. If anyone wants to make a focus check,
I can do it.
Maybe some Harlow details.
Are you saying as many of us want to roll it, or are you saying?
No, I would say either. Yeah, you can do a group roll if you want to choose somebody. I mean, this is storytelling. We're going to be telling the story together, so I like to give the opportunity that if somebody's better at it, if it's something like this where it's pretty broad and anybody can do it, I'll give it to the best person to do it. It's very pass or fail, or the.
I'm probably the best person to do it. I don't know.
I'm
Mark,
just 1 gilded is what I got.
I've got 3 points into it, and then I'm gilded.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So I'll do.
How many what's it called? How many
dice?
No, how many gilded dice? Because I have
just 1.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 regular.
You do have your
1
circle ability.
Gilded, 2 regular.
If you want to waste your circle ability to add one of the 3 gilded to this roll, you can.
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
I got 2 1s and a 2.
So yeah, you don't. As far as you know, you can't think of any other exits or entrances into this place but the front door. And as you're kind of having that memory or whatever, like the crowd goes wild and like starts starts cheering and whatnot and applauding, and you can tell that the strongman's act is done. And an announcer comes out, says like a little piece to the crowd, and she's like, "Oh, that was the Brute the Beast, everybody. Brute the Beast, ripping books together. Thank God we're not a book. Every book in the library is scared of this guy. You know what I mean?" And a little drum clash goes. "Next up, Lady Livonia and the Divine Dancers," and they wave their hand, and then some dancers kind of take the stage and start doing their act.
Can I just do a quick scan of the room for any young women that are around the same age as Harmony that look generally well-to-do?
Yes, Oliver.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I sort of tug on Auntie Willow's, coat or shawl or whatever, and I go, maybe we could ask your new friend if they know Harmony.
I was thinking so too. Larkin, you're tall. Do you see anybody that might be someone that Harmony might hang out with?
And I'll cast a glance.
Yeah, go ahead and make a survey roll.
Survey, got it. Oh, you're gonna love this. I'll roll 2 dice. I'll take the lower one.
Does anybody want to help by throwing
Yeah.
resist or intuition?
That's a 1.
I'll help him.
All right, so you can add.
So I did
Jeez.
roll, just to be an honest Thomas. Do you want me to roll again? I got a 1 and a 5.
Well, you rolled 2 dice, and he just gave you one to help. So
That means I used an intuition. Is that correct?
I'll go ahead and let you roll again.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll again.
It's a 3. It's a failure, unfortunately.
Okay. So you don't see anybody in this establishment that would be as posh as what you're imagining in your head, like an affluent type person would be. There are several couples. There are several younger women as well as older men and women in here. Most of the young women are at groups with, co-ed groups with various people. But nobody really stands out to you that you think would like, oh, that's an affluent person that would be hanging out with Harmony Thompson.
Did I use my ability? I know a guy.
Sure. Yeah, read us the ability.
Yeah, so this one, once per assignment, asks the GM who you know nearby that could help you. The GM will tell you who they are and explain why this NPC might have insight into the investigation.
Right on. Yeah, as you're looking around, John, you guys are all kind of like looking, except Oliver. He's just kind of too low really to look.
I'm looking at shins.
To your surprise, John, like you kind of are taken back, but you see someone across the crowd or across the audience, the theater that comes out of the back curtain, and this person's looking. It looks like they're looking for someone. But you recognize it to be who you previously thought was deceased, Bruno, the stagehand.
I'll use the kind of whistle that we do backstage when we're performing and get the party all to kind of pay attention. I'm going to tell everyone, guys, I see Bruno back there.
And he's coming up the aisle like he it's almost like he's got a purpose of some kind, but he's coming kind of towards you guys, actually.
Okay. In that case, I'll tap Willow on the shoulder and kind of make my way to kind of intersect Bruno to make sure that we kind of fly into each other.
As John goes to do that, I'll just say, or we just follow him.
Yeah.
I like where your head's at.
Okay.
I'll like turn my body away from this guy and just try and track where Bruno seems to be headed.
So Bruno doesn't see you, and he passes. He seems very determined on the mission that he's on, and he kind of like walks past, and he's looking around the room, but he's not seeing what he's looking for. He's not looking for you, obviously, and he walks kind of towards the front door as if he's going out. Do you follow him?
I said we follow suit, right?
Okay.
I definitely will. Yeah.
Are all of you following, or just one? Richard?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you guys follow. I'm not going to make you roll for it or anything. You work your way back through the crowd to the front door, and you follow Bruno out. When you come out, Bruno's kind of standing by the caller kid that was out there before, and he's got his hands on his hips, and he's kind of looking like up and down the street, a little frantically, like he's looking, like I said, he's looking for something, and he's not finding it.
Can I kind of like, as I'm watching him, can I kind of get a vibe for like how he's feeling, like his body, like is he scared? Is he stressed?
Yeah, go ahead and make a read check.
Okay. This
Is it
one gilded, 2 dice. I mean 2 dice. One is gilded. Yeah.
Using any intuition or drives or anything?
No, I got a 4 and a 5.
Great. Yeah, so this is very pass fail. You see that it's like his body language seems that something's missing. He's obviously searching for someone. You put 2 and 2 together from seeing that this early into the act, you feel like he's looking for a person, as if somebody didn't show up for work. Like that's kind of like the that's just, you know, you've seen it happen enough where people don't show up for curtain call, and that's kind of the same vibe that Bruno's doing. And you know, in the old system, Bruno usually was the guy that went out in the street looking for this person.
I would say he works here. He's looking for someone. They're late.
You're muted.
I think you're muted, Rach.
Sorry, I'm gonna just save that. Okay, above table, Bruno went missing. Like nobody knows. Presumed dead, I thought.
Bruno was one of the people that was presumed dead in the fire of the Harlow.
I don't understand why we're just tailing him. If it's Bruno, should we go?
We can of course go and talk to him, but.
And as you're saying that and having this conversation, Bruno turns around to go back in, and he sees you all standing in the doorway, and he stops as if he's the one that's seen a ghost. And he just kind of sighs because he knows that he's been found. Oh, shucks, I didn't...
With that, my gaze goes really shitty. Like if he's specifically has been hiding, I'm pissed.
I think John's gonna go up and punch him.
All right, make a strike. Make a strike roll.
And say, Bruno, you fucker, and go and play into him. And for strike, I got gilded, and then the 2 dice. So 2 dice in total, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very pass fail. He doesn't seem like he's protecting himself.
5 and a 2.
5 and 2. So I take it you're going with the 5. Yeah, you hit him. You didn't get the best hit on him, so you hurt your hand. So I'm gonna take a body mark. You can mark down a body for me. But you hit him, and he kind of almost expected it. Like he kind of almost puts his chin out, like he welcomed it because he knows he deserves it. And he takes it. He's oh, look, I'm sorry. I know you have a lot of questions and whatnot, but I don't know how I can make this up to you, but
you can't make this up to us. What are you doing, Bruno? Where have you been? We thought you were dead.
Hey, it's not Bruno anymore. I'm going by Francis now.
That's a stupid name.
Like it's the one I got. You know, it's look. After the Harlow burned down, you know, I have some trouble in my past. I didn't want to get blamed for it, you know, so I just kind of, you know, I was out of town when it happened, and I just kind of stayed out of town. If you get my drift, I really wanted to reach out to you guys and tell you, but you know, I got people looking for me, and I just didn't want the word to get out.
And we know the full story of how and why the Harlow burnt down, right?
Nope. It's kind of a mystery. It just burned down, and they just kind of the official report just says that it was you know, lantern, a fire a fire
Got it.
came. A fire happened, and it just kind of got out of control, and they couldn't put it out.
So we weren't there. We were like off doing a show somewhere else or something. Or not
You
doing
guys just
shows,
weren't.
but
Most likely, you were at the clinic with Oliver when it happened.
got it.
I'm just gonna have this instinctive thing. I think I have this memory of seeing a person who clearly has something he doesn't want other people to find out. And I'm just remembering something I never did, but something one of the people whose sins I consumed did. And I just step up and I say, well, listen, Francis, if you want to stay, Francis, you don't want us to tell everyone in there what you're up to. And everyone up and down the street what you're up to. You're going to help us.
It seems fair. Look, I'm sorry. But what can I help you with?
Yeah, I don't need your sorry. Harmony, young girl. Fancy. People seem to like her. She's gone missing. What's the story?
Harmony's missing? Yeah, she's been around here for, off and on for the last couple of weeks. I know her. What do they think happened to her?
Nobody knows.
Well, that's what we're here to find out. You'd do well to be more useful to us.
I mean, what do you want to know? She's nice for a rich broad. She comes around often. I think her and one of the acrobat sisters are
Who does she
sweethearts.
hang out with? Who does she hang out with?
Like I said, mostly she comes and hangs out with. I think her name is Iris. She's like the shortest, the smallest of the acrobats. Like I said, they're kind of sweethearts.
They're involved
maybe
romantically.
They yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't really hang out with them, but I see them around, and they're all like kind of kissy, holding hands and linked arms and whatnot.
Do they ever argue?
I mean, I haven't seen them argue. I think it's kind of a new thing. They're still in that like puppy love stage,
I check if he's
And
lying.
when,
Yeah, make a read check.
Okay. Go ahead, Larkin.
while Mo's rolling, I'll just say, and when exactly will you be introducing us to this Iris?
6 to 5.
I mean, I can bring you backstage, and hey, I know it's a lot to ask, but maybe we can help one another out because people are going to ask questions or whatever. But so, as luck would have it, for you maybe, we got this magician who didn't show up for curtain call today, and I'm looking for him right now, but I don't know. They're usually always on time. It doesn't make any sense that they're not here. But if they don't show up before their finale, would you guys be interested in putting the whole show together? He's looking at Willow and John.
Take a glance at Willow and
I mean,
what's in it for us?
If you don't have,
Francis.
it'll help me sell the lie of like bringing you backstage or whatnot. You know how theater people are; they see new people and they don't want to.
I got a 5 and a 6 on my read, on my.
5 and a 6, full success. He's being very honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, you can tell with a 6, you can tell that he feels guilty, like he's being very honest of his guilt towards you guys, and he kind of like. He's glancing at you every once in a while, Oliver, but like the last time Bruno saw you, you were at death's door. And then he hasn't really heard of you.
Hey, don't look at him. Look at us.
So yeah, he glances every once in a while like it's a little strange that you're still here. But yeah, when Willow says that, he kind of pops his attention, back up to Willow and John.
Listen. You're not the only person that people are looking for, all right? We're looking for Harmony. We're not going to do this for you, okay? But we need backstage. So, John, if you're in, I'm in. But I don't want to do the final act of that. Okay, we can do the other stuff.
Yeah, fine. I mean, anything if they don't show up, it would be great for you to help out. But whatever the case, yes or no. Look, I apologize for not reaching out, and I'm definitely gonna help you. I'll bring you back there. I don't know Iris, but I know she's got she sometimes sleeps downstairs in the scene shop. She's got like a little bed or something down there, and she might be hanging out. I can bring you backstage.
Yeah, sounds good, Francis.
He kind of like tucks his head. He looks so apologetic. He's like, all right, come on with me. And he starts walking back into the Mystic Cabaret.
As he does, I reach up and I take his hand, like I take one of his fingers. Just sort of like look at it very innocently, like
when you touch his finger, he kind of like withdraws. Like, you know, it's almost, and you know, in hindsight, that your body temperature has been cold or colder than usual, and your hands are like really cold. So I think when that coldness touched his finger, he didn't really know what it was, and he kind of pulled away, and he sees it's you, and he looks at Willow, and the glare that I think Willow would give him, he kind of puts his hand back down and lets you hold his finger.
He's missed you, Francis. You were like an uncle to him.
Sorry,
Hold
Bruno.
his fucking hand.
My hands are a little cold sometimes.
He definitely follows Willow's order and holds his hand. I'm sorry.
Just at Oliver. It's all right.
Just a note that him being very uncomfortable, just a little smile kind of stretches across Larkin's face, that we've completely press ganged this guy and he's going to do whatever we want. And then I kind of like shake my head, like I just feel guilty, and then I'll follow everyone in.
So he brings you back in and kind of weaves through the crowd, and you follow, and then he brings you down the aisle and through like the little side door to bring you backstage. Where are we? So as you go backstage, you see there's obviously the those feelings that you've had before are even more like aroused now, because this is it. This is like what every theater person, I think, feels and dreams and loves, and that energy that comes from backstage. And you can see like there's the other acts kind of preparing to go on, you know, kind of strumming guitars or you know, manipulating their props to kind of get ready and rehearsing their lines or whatever their performance is. So there's a whole cast of characters backstage. You see that there is a stage manager type who's, you know, got a clipboard and checking things off and just kind of watching the audience and watching for performers and whatnot. Kind of what Morgan used to do. And that's kind of the first thing you see as you walk back. And then the layout of the back of this theater is, I mean, all these theaters basically have a formula and a mold. So it's very similar. So pretty much anything that would have been at the Harlow would be here. You see the stairs that go down to where you're sure that's where the scene shop and the prop shop is. You see like the hallway that goes back to like the dressing rooms, you know, hair and makeup and costumes. And then you see like the little area behind the stage, like I said, where you are currently with all the other performers kind of sitting around waiting to go on.
We don't see Iris immediately, right? So what I'm looking for is acrobat costumes. Like, are we seeing anyone that is dressed in acrobatic gear yet?
No, you do not see anybody dressed as acrobats up here currently.
Okay. So the stage manager, male, woman?
The stage manager is a...
or other?
It is, I think, stage manager is, I changed it literally last minute, sorry. It is a female stage manager.
Okay. I am going to shrug out of my coat and kind of shove it into John's hands. Hold this real quick. And I'm gonna walk up to the woman and, hi there. I'm part of the act. We heard that you were a magician short.
She kind of looks at you and then looks at Bruno, who's kind of standing behind you. She goes, "Did Bruno recruit you?"
Oh, Francis? Yeah.
Or sorry, yeah, Francis.
We go far back with Francis. And I kind of like wink at her, and the venom that I have for Bruno is not present in my like little playful stuff with this woman. I am just sugar, honey, you know? Yeah, go way back. So he said that you might need some help tonight, and you are looking at none other than the infamous John Blackstone, and I do my full like best like arms and everything.
Um,
Oh, no.
I think I may have heard of you before. But you know, we're still waiting to hear back. I mean, it's very odd that our act, you know, didn't show up. They always show up. But
Sure.
I don't know. Have you heard of Madame Amethyst?
Have I heard of Madame Amethyst?
Let's make a memory. Make a focus to see if you
Let's
guys can all
see.
make it if you would like.
Ooh, a focus I
Roll.
can only make by doing the lower thing because I have 0 marks in focus. That means I
So you
can
roll,
two
Yeah,
and
choose
take the
and take the
lower.
lowest. Yeah.
Or I can choose not to. Are we all doing it?
We do. I've got some points into. Wait, what is this? What are we doing? Focus.
Focus.
I've got really high
Focus.
focus, so I take out a book and I like a notebook that I've been writing in, and I start flipping through it. And I'm gonna, if you want to help me, we can do it that way. So if you want to.
I think this one is going to be hard to help because I think this is just recall and memory.
Okay, I can just make.
Without having like an open conversation in front
will.
of the lady that you're
That's
talking
okay
to.
with
Sure.
All right, here we go. 2 4s and a 2.
2 4s. Okay, so yes, you in Oliver, you've heard others talking about an up and comer a couple months ago named Madame Amethyst. They're a magician as well. They do a different kind of magic than John and Willow do. But they were kind of they were getting buzz, I guess, 2 months ago when you guys were more in the world of the theater. But you've never seen their act.
Madame Amethyst, she's an up and comer. She still needs to work on her skills. Nothing like what you and Uncle do in your act. She had a lot of buzz for a while. Yeah. So
I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes around here, but if you need someone, we could certainly go up. We used to run an act at the Harlow before it burned down, and we're looking for a new gig. You could take it as an audition, or again, we'll sit to the sidelines, but I know that you probably want us. I don't think that this is going to quite show up on stage. So if you've got a fit, I could change. You really want to see me in something sparkly, you know?
Go ahead and make a sway roll.
Fantastic. I have that 2 plus one of them is a gilded die.
Nice.
So my gilded die is the 4, and that's the higher one. So mixed.
Okay, so a mixed success. I think with a mixed success, you definitely have her attention, and you've convinced her enough not to kick you immediately out. So she kind of looks you up and down. She's like, "Yeah, I was hoping you brought more of a stage friendly costumes or whatnot. But if you don't, we have plenty of stuff. We can put you in something. But if you don't mind, if you don't have anywhere to go, just hang out back here so I can keep an eye on you. That way we don't lose 2 magicians tonight. But
the
I'm
vanishing
still
act
hopeful.
will not come up, I promise.
I appreciate that." And then she kind
Dion,
of,
I know you are so busy, but also I have an old friend. I think you might know her. Her name is Iris. She used to do acrobatics and stuff. I heard that she might have come around.
what do you mean?
Here.
What do you mean used to do? She still does acrobatics here at the show, but they're not on tonight.
Oh, dang! I was hoping. I heard that she might be here.
Well, sometimes she hangs
Is she
out
around?
downstairs. I haven't seen her myself, but sometimes she's downstairs.
I immediately start walking
Hey!
towards downstairs.
She starts like just her attention kind of like starts looking at the other performers. Hey, come on, You're on in like 2 minutes. Come here. Just get ready for it. And she just kind of, and she looks back
Yeah.
to you.
We're gonna follow.
So I just keep walking.
Oh, you guys take off as she's okay. So yeah, you guys.
We won't keep you. We won't keep you. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks a lot. Just hang in the area. I'll find you if I need you. And then she kind of like walks off to like she's like snapping at somebody and walking over to them.
Don't
Come
let
on.
off.
Let's go find Iris.
Okay.
Let's go.
John
He's
Larson.
still in the Shirley Temple, I guess.
And I can tell she's feeling a little bit anxious for me, so I take her hand as she comes up beside me.
Okay.
All right. Don't wander.
So what are you guys doing?
We're looking for. I wanted to go downstairs.
Stairs down.
Yeah.
Downstairs. All right. So you guys pretty much have free reign of backstage right now. You're heading downstairs. As you move down the stairs, a crew member rushes past you. You know, they're carrying some stuff up, last minute props. It's a male. It's definitely not Iris. It's like a big burlier male. You don't recognize them, but they're bringing some stuff up. This is kind of like, you know, the usual chaos that you guys are familiar with backstage of the theater. As you get to the bottom of the stairs, you're in the basement area, or the downstairs as you call it. It's not much different like everything else of the Harlow. On the left, there's a door that goes to the prop shop. There's a label inside of it. And on the right, there's another door that's labeled the scene shop. And if you remember, they told you that she usually has a bed in the scene shop. But where would you guys like to go first?
Scene shop. But I'm gonna
Right.
I'm gonna push Ollie behind me because again, I have heard that she has friends down here sometimes, and I don't want him to see anything. So I'm going to push him behind me and just peek in real quick to make sure that there's nothing too scandalous.
Oliver rolls his eyes, and I don't know if anybody sees it, but
I don't.
So Willow, as you grab the door to like turn the knob, it kind of like opened, like it wasn't closed all the way. It was slightly ajar. You open it up, and within the scene shop, and it's dim lit down here, but because of your scar, you're having no problem seeing. And the scene shop is your typical crammed room with, you know, there's cages on the walls of small and medium-sized set pieces that are locked up, and there's several soft flats, which are like backdrops and whatnot, that are hanging from the ceiling to floor. And it's not hard to find. This room isn't that big. That someone has made a bed out of some old curtains, and nobody's in it currently. But there is a bed that's kind of pushed up towards like the back corner.
No one. We see no one in here. It's dim.
There's signs that
Well, you're
somebody
the only one
obviously
doing it.
was using this. There's like some, you know, liquor bottles, the empty liquor bottles around, and some personal items and whatnot.
I approach the bed and start looking around to see if I see anything that would make me feel like it belongs to Iris or.
Well, just to make that easier, I think I'll try and strike a match or just something that would help light the place up. Maybe look for a lantern to light so that it's not just the lovely Willow who is able to navigate this place unclumsily.
And
Yeah.
you are all seeing my eyes glow in this dim light.
Very
Yeah.
much so.
Also want to stop that, though.
Yeah.
That's another thing. If someone walked in, wouldn't be great.
As
So,
I,
yeah,
I walk forward.
Well, I'll say
I
really
trip-
quickly,
trip over them.
Larkin, when you strike the match, there's a lantern. Hey, look at that. There is a lantern there that you can light and use, and it you know, lights the room dim enough that everybody can kind of has a better chance of seeing everything. And then Oliver, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm making my way towards the bed, and I probably like hit my shin on something. I go, son of a bitch, and then I keep walking towards the.
Language.
I said, oh, I meant darn it, gee willikers, and I keep walking towards the bed. Yeah, and with the help of Auntie and Larkin's light, I'm hoping to see if I can see if, like, was there any struggle? Is this just a case of she's not here? Is there any clues to identify her here? Like, was she here at all?
Go ahead and make a survey roll. I mean, you
Okay.
can, like I said, you can see there's some empty bottles. This is what Willow saw, and you're seeing it now too in the light. There's some empty bottles and cigarette butts and some personal items and whatnot that you're kind of rummaging around.
Can you remind me, like, what is the advantage of the gilded? Like,
So-
if you are gilded in something.
If you use a drive, you have the little bars or whatever. If you use a drive, every drive adds a d6, and everybody can
Right.
help you by giving you one of their drives. If you
Right.
choose the gilded dice, even if it's a pass or fail or whatever,
Oh,
if you choose
right,
the
right,
gilded
right.
dice, it gives everybody their drives back.
Got it. Okay.
Not just the individual.
No, everybody who gave drives to that person.
Okay. I'll give you 2 drive and
Oh,
intuition.
great.
You can only give one drive. You say one drive?
I said 2. Is that? I'll just give 1 if that's.
Yeah, you can only ever give one drive to someone else.
And
Okay.
that adds 1 die for him. And
Yeah.
can others, because I'm learning all the rules here, guys, can others
Yes.
add as well? So we could each.
one
experience
Yes, so
that.
it's basically like helping.
I think this is a room where we're gonna want an answer. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend a drive. I have one in the survey area or in the intuition area as well. So I'll expend a drive as well.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so everybody basically can add a drive. The max you can have is 66.
And you
Oh,
you have to have drives in that category, right? Like intuition or cunning
Correct.
or nerve, right?
That's where you mark
Okay.
them off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I got
so how many?
2 5s, 4 dice.
4
One
dice,
is
okay.
gilded. So I got 2 5s, a 3, and a 1.
Okay. I'm guessing you're taking the 5s. Is either one of them gilded?
Yes, one of them is gilded.
Great. So if you
Yeah.
take the
Nice.
gilded
Take it back.
5, everyone will get their drive point back. That offers it
Oh
up.
yeah, let's take the gilded 5.
So
Yeah.
with
It's really good to stack those then. Okay. We all group activities are collaborative storytelling.
yeah, no,
Fantastic.
feel free to ask if there's something that
Oh, I will. Don't you even worry about it.
so on this I think it's on a mixed success. You kind of go through everything. You find some personal items. There is a half a pack of cigarettes in there, which kind of reminds you, Oliver, you're the one searching. It reminds you of Morgan, the stage manager at the old Harlow, because that was her brand. That cigarette, and you kind of like almost get like that sense of that you remember someone when you smell those cigarettes. Almost you think of her, and then you kind of like push them aside, and you find a kind of a fancy hairbrush. It looks like it's more of a. It doesn't seem like somebody in the theater would have this fancy of a hairbrush, and you also just more bottles kind of wrapped in the curtain and whatnot, and on the tips of the bottles, on the rims, there is lipstick.
Do you pick
Check.
up the hairbrush?
Yeah, I pick up the hairbrush and I.
What color hair is in
That's
the
what I was gonna say. Yeah.
I'm not gonna make you roll for this because it's obvious. Blonde hair.
We've cracked the case. She's in the brush.
Yeah, go ahead, Larkin.
I was just gonna say that when you hold that up and you kind of look at the hair, I just kind of.
Well, yeah. Do we know that you have this talent, like, or whatever curse?
Yeah, I would only be doing this like literally to keep the lights on in Harlow. It's the only. There's no reason for me to do it unless it's to help someone I care about, right?
I'd turn
In
around.
this case, I'm doing
Yeah.
it just for the case.
Yeah, I'd turn around and I'd look up at you with like pretty dead eyes, and I'd just hold the hairbrush out to you.
Oliver, Larkin. You don't have to. This is we've barely looked.
We can keep looking.
We can keep looking. You don't have to do that.
Well, hold on to it at least, in case we need you.
I'm gonna take it. And as I take the hairbrush, do I get any, as an occultist, do I just get any intuitive sense of bleed or anything, from beyond the flare connected to this item or the hairs on it?
Do you have any ability that gives that, or like are we using a bleed detector? Or...
I do have a bleed detector.
I'm happy to spend gear if I need to, but I just, in case there was already something on it, I figured I'd ask for the freezing first.
Right. From touching it, you don't immediately get any bleed sensation or whatnot. But let me know if you're going to use a bleed detector. Whoever's using the bleed detector will make a I think a focus. I'm always like, is it survey or focus?
Well, I'm happy to use a bleed detector, and I have sense for attune channel reveal. I don't know if that would be beneficial in this circumstance.
Sorry, what is it?
Sense roll for attuning or channeling. Would that be beneficial as well to try and find bleed?
That's more of a.
But I'll use a bleed detector for it.
I'm gonna give you a drive.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll say sense or focus if you're using a bleed detector, because
I give you a drive.
I feel like for using sense, if you could describe like what your bleed detector is and how you use it by using sense.
Mm-hmm. I think my bleed detector is one of those. What are they called? Dowsing rods, divining rods that people use to find water.
Yes.
But it'll be a really small one made of bone of some undetermined, hopefully an animal, but probably not. And I'll just kind of hold that out, and I'll almost as if like for wind on the tip of it, and I'll just inspect it with that.
Okay.
I'll also give him a drive.
Okay, how does the thought here to, like, tuning rods that it's gonna point towards the bleed, or does it rattle, or?
I'll be pulled toward it the same way, in theory, you would for water, like finding a source of water. So I'll be pulled towards it more, depending on how close or how strong it is, I think.
It's the hotter, colder game, but with metaphysical.
I think for this, John, because it's intuitive and within him, I don't think I'm going to allow drives to help him.
Okay.
Because I feel like this is all kind of him and his ability.
Yeah, I'll spend 2 of mine though.
I think you can only spend one at a time. You can't spend more than one.
Okay. I will spend 1 then. I have so many. Here we go. I will take that gilded 5.
Okay, so a mixed success. Sorry, I didn't tell you the passes. So with a mixed success, you feel like you're being pulled in every direction at the same time. And it's so overwhelming. I'm going to give you a mark in bleed. But it's almost like the bone, instead of, pointing in direction, it's just kind of like just vibrating on your finger, and you can feel inside that it just seems like bleed is all around you in this area, but there is a source. Like, I will give you a hot spot that's hotter than all the others, that is behind the hanging flats, the soft flats. You feel something over there.
So I'll look at everyone and just say, this place is flooded with fleet. Look that way. It's worse.
I'll head over and start moving in that direction.
Oliver, stay behind me.
It's not that big of a room, John. It's only a couple steps to kind of get where Larkin is pointing you out to. You see one of the soft flats, and you reach out to kind of like move it, but before you do that, obviously there's a blood stain, almost like a point of impact on the tarp, that somebody was hit and then hit the wall behind him, and you can see there's more little blonde hairs in the blood.
Hey guys, I think there was a bit of an altercation here. Bit of yellow hair, also over here by the blood.
So chances are she's not the sinner, but the one sinned against.
So
And the soft flat is kind of moving just a little bit. It's not like somebody's behind it. It's not like that, but it just almost seems like there's a breeze just pushing it a little bit.
So I have an ability, and I will probably use it. But would you give me, because I am a medium, do I feel anything just in the area, like a presence potentially lingering?
Like a spirit?
Yeah. Or a sentient phenomenon?
You can go ahead and make a sense roll to kind of put your feelers out and see if there's anything peculiar.
I'm going to mark a drive because, like Sean, I have put a lot of my drives into my intuition. So that's going to give me 3 dice. What
I
does
help
Bill
with-
did?
I can't help with this one, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
this is
sort of
another internal thing, so
Got it.
The 6. Haha,
Six.
and it's my
Full
gilded
success.
die. And it's my gilded. Full success
Great, so you
on
get
my
your
gilded
drive.
die.
So you get a full success.
Everybody gets their drive back if it's in that way, right?
If it,
Only
but
if we
you're,
help
you're
people, we can't help.
only, yeah,
Oh,
only
got it,
the-
got it, got it. Got it,
so
I understand.
so with the full success, I'm gonna ask you, were you reaching out for anything specific? Like,
I'm trying because there was this. So when violence happens, it leaves a mark in the plane that we exist on. It echoes into other planes as well. We don't see it, but people who are sensitive to it can feel it. I feel like if there was violence, and especially because you can feel violence even that doesn't result in something significant. When it does, though, it feels very clear. Do I feel the significance of the tear that happened here?
you feel with the full success, you feel that there was a lot of anger. You can't really pinpoint it to this room particularly. I mean, it's here. It's thick. You can feel it. There's some kind of angry spirit or angry phenomena of some kind that's just here. And you also, with a full success, you feel sorry, my monitor's all just like blinked.
Because ghosts.
Yeah, it's the ghost. Like, really? That was really weird. But yes, you feel this angry spirit, and you also feel that there is something more, something you felt before,
I felt before.
something you felt on stage 2 months ago. A thinning of some kind.
I'm gonna
Just feel, you feel all of that kind of like at once, and it's overwhelming. So I'm going to give you a brain mark.
Well, that's unfortunate because I'm about to take another. So I think that what I do in that moment is there was a handprint, right? A bloody
No,
handprint.
it was just an impact mark.
Just an impact. Okay, just an impact mark. I would like to reach out to that and place my palm over it, and that's where I feel. That's how I'm sensing that. everyone around me, you kind of see me go very still. And although you are not really making noises, you hear me start shh, shh. And I'm going to close my glowing eyes and reach out, kind of under my breath whispering. And I'm going to reach out and try to grab that energy and see if I can connect with it with my medium specialty skill of commune. You
Okay.
can make a connection with a nearby sentient phenomenon. In order to communicate with it, I must take a brain mark to do so. And I have to make a sense roll to open an empathetic or telepathic connection to ask a question. So I'm going to
Okay.
spend a drive. That gives me my 3.
Is
One
it
is
specific
skill.
or is it any or?
What do you mean?
It says you can commune with just a supernatural entity in the area, right?
Yeah, a connection
by
with a
touching-
nearby sentient, phenomenon.
Okay,
So
I
it
didn't know if
doesn't-
there was a
it doesn't-
connection.
I don't think it necessarily needs to be like a ghost. It's as much as it is some kind of phenomenon.
Okay.
Yeah, like I have felt something serious here enough. On a success, I get an answer. On a 4 or 5 result, the phenomenon will ask a question in return.
Mm.
So for a full success or a mixed success.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay, now, just to be clear, I rolled a 1, a 1, and a 3, but
Okay.
I have resistances.
Okay.
Can
So
I?
You can
Uh-huh.
with a resistance. You can't roll any of the drive that you put into it. You can only roll your base skill again.
Okay. So by marking a resistance, I could re-roll the 2 dice that I have
Correct.
in sense. Okay, then I'm going to get rid of one of my
Okay.
resistances,
All right.
and I'm going to re-roll to try to get something a little better. Doubles do nothing.
No.
What was a double of?
2s.
Oh. So
I
with a
have one more
failure,
resistance and you can I use another? I don't even know if I should, guys.
Doubling down fails,
You
triple
can
down.
use resistances. They're there to burn.
Fuck it. Listen, we're playing a game, guys.
Alright, let's
We're
do it.
playing a-
You're right.
So I'm gonna mark my second one. I get those dice back. I'm re-rolling. Come on. Mama needs a new ghost. Oh, okay. There we go. A 4 on my gilded, a 6 on
Okay.
my main regular.
So
I wanna take
I
the
will
gilded
say,
guy.
because I'm a nice GM, I will say because it's attached to that first one where you use the drive, if you take the gilded, which is a mixed success, you will get your drive back. If you take the full success, you won't get your drive back. But I believe on a mixed success, it asks you a question as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
listen, I love a good dramatic moment. So if I get to restore a drive, I'm gonna give you my mixed success to take the gilded and restore my drive.
Okay. Go ahead and ask
Okay.
your question. Is it you ask a question or I just give you information?
I get an answer by opening. So first I ask a question. On a mixed success, it gets to then ask one back in return.
Okay.
So I'm going to first, after I've shushed everyone dramatically. Can you tell me what happened here? Is that enough?
I could be
If
mean.
it's silent, I can extend it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Mo all had the same butt pucker. We all.
Genie in a is it genie in a bottle? Okay, listen. All right.
I could be mean. I could just
No.
say one, give you a
asked
one
the
word
yes-
answer.
You asked the yes or no question.
Yeah. So
I see
I'm
what
gonna
you
let
mean.
you re-ask that question because this is your
Alright.
first Candela Obscura game, and
I love it.
if it was Mo or Sean, screw 'em.
Different kind of game happening around here, guys. I play Daggerheart. I love to give people a story. You hiding it behind roles and questions. I got it. I'm back, baby. Genie in a bottle question. There's a girl named Harmony that's gone missing. I know something violent happened to her. What happened to Harmony? Here, that hurt her.
So you put that question out there, and everyone else around you is quiet. You're still attuned to that anger that you felt earlier, and it almost seems like you feel like inside of you it's like reverberating, that anger feeling, that you're reaching out to something that didn't want you to know that it was there. Everyone else around you, you see that the cages, everything in this room starts rattling. Willow, you kind of think that it's all internal, but then you quickly realize that this entire room is just shaking, like an earthquake is going on. And everything is just, and then it stops. She's still alive if you hurry. And then there's a pause. And then the question that comes back is, are you ready to perform? And that's where we're going to take our first break.
Sick. Love it.
Very
good.
nice.
All right, so hang tight. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will be right back with RolePlay GrabBag and Faint Divinities Candela Obscura. Thank you, everybody, for watching the first half.